Mets fans are absolutely livid at this. Just when things were looking good, the New York Mets blow yet another game, and it's the same cast to blame, and the front office is doing nothing. And that has fans thinking that the season is over, which is exactly what we're going to dive into only here on Mets Digest. I'm your host today, Mike Duda. We're going to talk about the many things that Met fans are livid with in depth. But first, we got to talk about some subscribers, and that being the fact that 69.8% of you that watch these videos aren't one. So please do me a favor, do us a favor here at Mets Digest, and hit that free subscribe button. That way we can bring content to you about the amazing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. Kicking it off with last night, you go to the bottom of the first. Pete Alonso continues to tear it up. He has been red hot of late. 98 RBIs now. He gets another 2 last night, leading the National League, tied for the lead in the MLB in RBIs after a historic night the night previous. Career home runs 253 and 254. The Met all-time leader in home runs. He looks great. Cedric Mullins hits a sac fly. We make it 6-0. Juan Soto hits an absolute nuke to right center. Jeff McNeil with an RBI double. It's 6-0. If I told you the Met offense put up this and David Peterson was just 27 pitches deep after 2 innings, giving up just 1 hit, 2 Ks, 4 ground ball outs, no walks, no hit batsmen, and this is the opposing pitching line from Carlos Carrasco, you tell me, oh, come on, you got to feel bad for Carrasco. He gave up 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, only struck out 2, gave up a shot to Juan Soto over just 2 innings, 67 pitches, ERA inflates to over 7. This guy's getting old. We all know him. We all love him. He's a former Met. He's a good guy. I mean, how bad did the Mets beat up on the Braves last night? That's what you should say, right? They won, right? No. They didn't win. So, with that, let's go ahead and dive right into this ugly loss, 11-6. They gave up a 9 spot in the 4th inning, and that is exactly where it all went downhill. Look at this. Walk, pitching change, walk. 5 walks in 1 inning. Yes, you could say the offense went cold, and a combination of Aaron Bummer, Tyler Kinney, Dylan Lee, Pierce Johnson, and Raisel Iglesias looked great in relief, and they absolutely did. They shut down the Mets for 7 innings. The offense did indeed go cold, but you scored 6 runs. You should be winning when you score 6 runs. I know this team is very offensive built, and when the offense is doing well, they should win games. 6 runs is the offense doing well. 12 hits is the offense doing well. The offense did their job last night. They just happened to do it over the first 2 innings. That should be a win. You should win at absolute bare minimum 6-5, if not 6-0, 6-1, 6-2. It really should have been a dominant victory for the New York Mets, and I get it. The offense went cold, but it goes back to the same old problems, and this is why fans are livid, because of the walks and the ERA. Look at this, a 6.15 ERA in the 4th inning over the last 54 games. That's, of course, since the Mets went ice cold. Second highest behind just the Marlins entering last night. And, of course, when Atlanta puts up a 9 spot with no errors from the Mets, that ERA is going to inflate even more. And the problem is, you saw it. It's the walks. Walks. It is the first time allowing 9 runs in an inning since April 16th of 2019. Pete Alonso's rookie year in a 14-3 loss in Philly. That was in the 1st inning. The broadcast put this up on a graphic and literally got it wrong. That just shows how great last night went, and I'm saying that extremely sarcastically. Not only that, it's the most walks in an inning since earlier that year in 2019, that being April 7th against Washington in the 5th inning, where the Mets ended up losing 12-9 to the division rival Nationals. And look at this. David Peterson has been incredible over the last 54 games since the Mets have gone ice cold. He's been the only guy that's gone deep into games, almost reaching the 7th inning, where the rest of the rotation can't even reach the 5th. But this makes matters worse. Our ace was the one who didn't pitch well. The one and only guy who goes deep into games consistently only went 3 1/3 last night. In fact, last time around the pitching rotation, just 18 1/3 total innings pitched. That's an average of 3 2/3 innings pitched from our starting pitchers. I get it. Baseball has changed and pitchers don't pitch as deep anymore. You're not going to get these guys that consistently throw complete games or close to it, pitching every 4th day. I know that's a thing of the past. I know I'm an old mind when it comes to baseball, but come on. 3 2/3 the last time around for a starting rotation. There are bullpen arms that go a couple of days averaging 3 2/3. Are you serious? That's terrible. Not only that, 17 walks over those 18 1/3. That is an 8.35 walks per 9. That is pathetic. You want your walks per 9 around a 2, at absolute most a 3. But nope, not last night. He obviously didn't give any length. 3 1/3, 6 earned runs, 5 hits, 5 walks, 5 Ks, 80 pitches. He looked terrible. Absolutely pathetic night from David Peterson. And I'm not going to harp on him. He's been our ace. He's been our guy. He has been the one and only reliable guy in this rotation. He's been the only guy that goes deep. So I can't blame David Peterson. You're going to have a bad night. It's going to happen. But it just came at such a bad time because the Mets, they had a lead. Look at this. They had a 6-0 lead through 2 innings. It looked great. Now, something to note last night that was a little interesting. I don't blame it for the loss. Nick Lentz was absolutely terrible back there behind the plate. Here's his umpire scorecard. In fact, there were 6 different counts that went from 0-2 and ended up being full last night over the first 5 innings. Very, very weird game. And moreover, this is the beat writer for Newsday, Laura Albanese, who says Mets fans are loudly counting down the pitch clock 1 second too early. That's some sort of dedication for a 5th inning taking place at 10:59 p.m. Of course, last night there was an over hour and a half rain delay. The game got pushed back a lot. I'm surprised they ended up playing it. I thought they were going to play a doubleheader today, but nope. They played baseball last night. They pushed it back. They ended up playing, and it was a disaster for the New York Mets. In fact, to go on to this point, just how weird the game was, Gary Cohen mentioned, I don't think I've ever seen a crowd. He said, his words, I don't think I've ever seen a crowd that has counted down the pitch clock. Well, he has now. Very, very weird. But it all goes back to the same problems. This stat right here is walks per 9. As you can tell, only 2 teams worse than the Mets in all of baseball in walks per 9. The Chicago White Sox and Los Angeles Angels. 433 walks to just 1,022 strikeouts. That's a 2.36 strikeout to walk rate overall for the New York Mets. That is the 6th worst in all of Major League Baseball. Behind the Angels, not making the playoffs, the White Sox, one of the worst teams who just broke the record for most losses in a season last year, the A's, the Colorado Rockies, who have about 33 wins right now and could even potentially break that record of worst record ever, and the Washington Nationals. A combined record of 237 and 368. Just a 392 winning percentage from the 5 teams worse than the Mets in that category, and that would only rank worse, or better rather, than the White Sox and the Rockies. To further this, the Mets winning 1-1 counts. They explained this on the broadcast last night. It was Steve Gilbs. Either you get a strike on a 1-1 pitch or you produce a ball that's put in play. That's pretty easy to do on a 1-1 count. The Mets are only doing that 54% of the time here in August, worse than the MLB. And overall, throughout the season, 60% for strikes. That is the lowest in the MLB throughout the entire season. It's very simple. Jeremy Hefner needs to go. The pitching coach is not good. The pitching lab, or whatever he called it, is obviously not working. They are not good. They're walking way too many batters, and it's backfiring on them like last night. So with that, let's go ahead and turn it to the skip. Does he have any answers? No. Typical. He never has any answers. So first question he was asked, what is the biggest challenge, whether it's as a manager or just as a team, staying in the right mindset when this stretch is going on and losses like the ones you've been having lately have been taking place? Well, he responded, they're tough losses, but you got to keep going. We got the coaches right now, like looking at pretty much everything. Same thing. Anyone's a Jet fan, Robert Saleh. Oh, we're going to go look at the film and trying to figure out how we can continue to help these guys, especially the guys from the rotation, because we know the talent's there. He says the same thing every night, but we just haven't been able to get that much from them, especially this last time through. So not easy, but understanding that we got to keep going. Next question. Does this feel like the worst loss of the season? I mean, every loss, every one of them hurts. We have some tough ones. I wouldn't say the worst loss of the season. They all count the same. Back at it tomorrow, but it sucks to lose a game when you're up 6 right away. Now, overall, I agree with what he said here, but this is absolutely false. The New York Mets just had their worst loss of the season. That is easily the worst loss of 2025. Worse than the game on Sunday where they blew it against the Brewers. I mean, you were up 6-0 through 2. You had your ace on the mound, the guy that's consistently giving you 6-7 good innings. And really, you go ahead and you blow it and you lose by 5. You give up 11 runs, 9 of them in 1 inning. No, no, no. I mean, Paul Blackburn had a pitch. I think that explains enough. No offense to Paul Blackburn. Last question, why do you think that continues to happen one after another? What do they need to do to be able to find it again? He said, that's our job. He says it every night. It's hard for me to sit here and say, okay, this is particularly what they're doing. The pitching coaches are kind of digging deep to make sure we're not missing anything. Kinda? That's going on here? Kinda digging deep? And like I said, that's our job as coaches to get these guys back on track because they're talented. Well, obviously, Carlos, it is not working. It's your job, and you're not doing your job. You literally just admitted you are not doing your job. You said it's our job to make sure that these pitchers are getting better, to make sure that we're finding the problems, and hey, you haven't done it. So, why don't you say something? Go up to David Stearns and say, I need a new pitching coach. Jeremy Hefner is not helping me enough. How about you say something to the media? Nope. Hey, David Stearns, how about you make a move? Nope. Nobody's doing anything. It is ridiculous. This is what Met fans are so fed up with. Nobody is doing anything. The New York Mets are on the worst skid, I think, possibly of franchise history. And when they don't make the playoffs this year, because they're not making the playoffs this year, this will be the lowest I think the Mets have ever been in their 63-year franchise, given the expectations of this season. A lot of people pick them to win the World Series, and they're not even gonna make the playoffs. Here's the biggest thing that irritated me last night from Mendy. When you look at the past couple of nights, we lost the strike zone. We saw it with Clay yesterday. We saw it with Petty today, or Petey rather. We saw it pretty much with all of them. Give them free passes, and teams are going to make sure you pay for it at this level when you start walking people. I think that's been the biggest thing for me, that we haven't been able to get some shutdown innings, especially when we get the lead like that, so it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Are you serious? Carlos. I mean, by the way, look at this. I think this is funny. This is the every single thing. He says this every single post game. He always makes sure to mention, we have to keep moving on. We're going to move on. The coaches are looking at the film. It's on me. We have talent. I believe in this group. He never knocks a player, never knocks a coach. I love this because he literally says this every night in his post game conference. But are you serious? The past couple of nights, it's clearly not very recent. It's the past 2 months. Starting pitching rankings since June 13th, exactly 2 months ago from yesterday. 4.54 innings per game. That's last in the National League. 5.35 ERA. That's 12th in the NL, meaning only 3 teams are worse. 150 whip. 12th in the NL, only 3 teams are worse, and a 782 opponent OPS, 10th in the NL, only 5 teams are worse. It is obvious the Mets have glaring issues, and this is what is most frustrating to me personally. You can say the on-field problems are very frustrating. Yes, Juan Soto can't get a clutch hit for his life. We'll talk about that in a little bit in a future video. Yes, the pitchers can't go deep. Yes, everybody is walking the ballpark. Yes, the defense hasn't looked good of late. Yes, they're not stealing a lot of bases of late. But nobody is doing anything about it. David Stearns, fire somebody. Carlos Mendoza, go up to David Stearns and say, hey, I need this guy fired. Have a post-game conference. I've talked about this before. Throw a chair. Somebody just do something. So go down there in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Do you agree that nobody is doing anything and it's absolutely frustrating, irritating, and making all of us livid? Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree down there in the comment section. Give me your thoughts. I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's right in front of us, like Aaron Boone would say, the Yankees manager. You need to fire somebody. You need to let somebody go. You need to do something. Throw a chair, have a post-game conference. All these problems are just going to continue piling up, and we all know the Mets aren't going to make the playoffs. So let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. Unfortunately, that's all the time I have for you in today's video. Thank you so much always for watching, and let's go Mets.